Hello, welcome to Captain Dorja's Armory. This is Captain Dorja, and we're still on the 8.7 test server. And by now, I'm sure you're aware that this little vehicle we're looking at right here is the E-25. This is a German Tier 7 premium tank destroyer. You can find it in the tech tree right here, E-25. It costs 6,700 gold um, compared to the price of some of the other German premiums. The Panther M10 cost 5,750 gold. The those are both tier 7 as well, so I'm not sure why the Panther M10 is so much cheaper. The Dicker Max is 3,200. It's a tier 6. The Ag Tiger 88 is 10,000 and it's tier 8. The Larva and the Panzerforschmalturm are of comparable prices, so we're not going to look at that. But I just think it's a little odd that the E-25 costs an entire 1,000 gold more than the Panther M10. But anyway, we'll gloss over that little oddity and continue. So the first thing that I noticed when I saw this tank was, holy crap, this thing is small. It looks like a friggin' Hetzer. I mean, the Hetzer was tiny. I've seen pictures of GIs looking at captured Hetzers, and like those things are not big. And this thing, it just looks like a super Hetzer. But I mean, I just want to get clear right away just how tiny this thing is. So here's the T-25AT, Tier 7 American tank destroyer, non-turreted, and this is a little TD. The T-25AT is small, way smaller than a Yag Panther. I mean, this thing is way smaller than an SU-152. Like, this thing is not very big. And here's the E-25. It's like half the size of the 25AT. So here's a T-49. That's another really small tank destroyer. The T-20 or the T-49. I think I said T-29 before. The T-49. This thing's small. The T-49 is a small tank destroyer. Little hull, little turret, not very tall. So here's your T-49. Bam, E-25. It's about the size of a T-49 with the turret cut off. So that's pretty small. Now, since everyone immediately sees this and thinks, "Oh my God, it's a super Hetzer." Here's the Hetzer. The friggin' Hetzer is bigger than the E-25. Look how much taller the Hetzer is. That is ridiculous. This vehicle, if this were a real vehicle, like produced in real life, this thing would only stand like 4.5 feet tall. For an armored fighting vehicle, that is just absurd. Hetzers are only like 6.5 feet tall. I mean, let's see the other dimensions here. It's a lot more wide. It's a lot wider than the Hetzer. See, the Hetzer's a lot more narrow, but this thing is shorter and not as long. So, I mean, this thing is friggin' tiny. And then just for kicks and squeals, boom, Jagdpanzer E100. Basically, if you look at the tracks only in the area that I'm circling, that's an E-25. So, I mean, this thing is just diminutive in the extreme. I haven't played any games with it yet. If you've seen my 110 IS-3 comparison, in the first battle with the 110, there were 3 E-25s running together, and you saw some of what they could do right there. They chewed some people up, and I really think that's going to be what this tank destroyer is all about. It's so tiny that I think it will have some pretty good bush ambush cloakability characteristics, but I think this thing is really... It seems ridiculous to say just from looking at it, but I really think where this thing's going to shine is going to be in the role of the assault TD. And we'll take a quick look at its stats, and then we'll look at why I think it's going to be such a good assault vehicle. First off, 830 hit points. That's not a lot, but Tier 7 TDs are not known for having a lot of HP. I've got some other Tier 7 TDs right here. SE100M1, 830 hit points, 840 on the T25AT. Let's see, let's find some other ones. 870 on the SE152, 850 on the Yag Panther. So the 830 hit points of the E25 is actually it's on the low end of standard. It's not even especially low. Weight, 26.7 tons. This thing is light. And it's got a 700 horsepower engine. This thing's got a really impressive power to weight ratio. And again, we're going to compare to the T25AT and the T49 because both of these are very fast tank destroyers. You can see right here the 25AT only has 4 more horsepower, but it weighs 40 tons. The E25, 27 tons. So, I mean, you're rolling around in a 25AT, and you're one of the more agile, nimble vehicles out there, and you only have 4 more horsepower than an E25, and you're carrying around about 15 tons more weight. And right here with the T49, T49's got 460 horsepower and weighs 15 tons, so a little more than half the horsepower. A little more than half the horsepower, a little more than half the weight. So power to weight ratio, roughly about the same of a T49. So we all know that the T49 rides a rocket. This thing is going to be fast. Next, speed limit. What do you know? It's fast, 65 kph. This thing can move. And then add on top of that, 44 degree traverse speed. That is insane. We're going to look at some other fast tank destroyers. Hellcat, 30 degree traverse speed. T25AT, 30 degree traverse speed. T49, 32 degree traverse speed. So, I mean, you don't have a turret, but what we're looking at right here is a fast, small TD that turns like a friggin' top. 44 degree traverse speed is ridiculous. Now, onto some slightly more negative aspects. You got no armor, 50 millimeters on the front, 30 on the sides and rear. The mantlet might be a little bit stronger. You know, you might get 100 millimeter effectiveness out of that mantlet, maybe even a little more than that, but I wouldn't expect much more in the way of armor on this thing. This thing's not got any armor. You know, if you get shot a lot, you're going to die. So yeah, that's not good. But what's going to help you with that is how friggin' tiny it is, and how fast it is. I mean, I've got a camo net on here because I think the camo rating on this thing is going to be extreme. So if you've got a camo net, a camo crew, and camo paint, if you want this friggin' thing to disappear, it will. Like, it's going to be... I can't imagine this thing being easy to detect. If it wants to hide, I cannot imagine this thing being easy to detect. Now, we're going to take a look at the gun. And this is what makes some people cry. It's got the 75mm L70 gun, which we're very familiar with in the German tank line because you use it on a lot of stuff. Let's quickly bounce to the tech tree and look at tanks where you use that gun. You use the L70 75mm gun on the Stug 3, the Yag Panzer 4, and if you're really unlucky, you even use it on the Yag Panther. You used to use that gun on the Panzer 4. You use that gun on the 3001P. You use that gun on the 3001H, or the 3601H. You use that gun on the 3001H. You use that gun on the 3001D. You use that gun on the 3002D. You use that gun on the Panther. It's the stock gun for the Tiger, and it's the stock gun for the Tiger P, and it's also the main gun for the Panther M10 in the E25. So by the time that, by this point in World of Tanks, if you play Germans, you're very familiar with this gun. But this gun is not quite exactly the same, and here's why. 0.3 accuracy, 1.5 second aiming time, 20 rounds per minute. That is insanity. 20 rounds per minute, 0.3 second or 0.3 accuracy and 1.5 second aiming time. I mean, I'm going to compare to the Panther M10 because the Panther M10 is a tier 7 rocking the same gun. 13.3 round per minute rate of fire, 0.35 accuracy, 2.3 second aiming time. In short, you have 50% more rate of fire, heinously improved accuracy, and 40% less aiming time with the same damage per shot and the same penetration. Wow. That is really good. Like, it's just phenomenal how quick they've made this gun. A 20 round per minute rate of fire is ridiculous. 150 millimeter average penetration is not great on a tier 7. In fact, it's actually pretty bad. It's one of the lowest penetrating guns available on any tier 7 in the game. That's not actually true. There are some that are worse than that. The 3002D, you have to use either this gun or you have to use the 88 millimeter L56, which only has 132 penetration. The T43 and the KV13, those only get 144 penetration, and the Comet I think only has 148 penetration. So there are tier 7s with worse pen than this, but not by much and not many. So, your pen is not very high, and your damage is not very high either, only 135 damage per shot. Now again, that damage isn't ridiculously low. Tanks like the Comet and the KV13, they have similarly low damage, but it's I think the Comet's is actually a little higher than that. KV13's I'm pretty sure is higher than that as well. But they don't have nearly the same rate of fire. And then to top it all off, the accuracy on this gun and the aiming time on this gun are ridiculous. We're gonna draw comparisons to a Jagdtiger here, because the Jagdtiger in German tank destroyer land is a legend, and it's a legend because of its gun. For a long time, the Jagdtiger had the most accurate gun in the game at .33. That has since been eclipsed by many, many, many things, including tier 9 and 10 mediums, which I am of the opinion that the tier 9 and tier 10 mediums, as well as the tier 10 tank destroyers, suffer from notorious power creep in areas like, well, the Jagdtiger's gun is heinously accurate, well, the E-50M's gun needs to be even more accurate, so screw you, Jagdtiger. I really think there's power creep and stuff like that, and, the Jagdtiger's gun is like a frackin' laser beam. You want to shoot the gnat, like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. Like, if there's a crumb in the beard of the driver of the enemy tank, your Jagdtiger can fire a shot from 600 meters away through the driver's viewport and hit the crumb out of that guy's beard without harming his face if you wanted to. Like, this thing is accurate. And the E-25's gun, more accurate. That says a lot. And the 1.5 second aiming time, that's crazy. That's like Centurion 7.1 with the 20 pounder. Like, that's just, it literally blows my mind to even think about it. And the other thing is just the crazy rate of fire that the E-25 gets, plus the low damage. It actually gives it really, really high damage per minute. And again, we're going to compare it to the Jagdtiger, because the Jagdtiger is a legend of DPM in World of Tanks. DPM doesn't get much higher than the Jagdtiger. The Jagdtiger manages a theoretical DPM of 2,947, which is very high. I don't think it's the highest in the game, but it's very, very near the top. And the E-25 is almost as high, 2,700. The Jagdtiger's got 247 more average damage per minute than the E-25. So, this thing, God forbid you run into this in a tier 6, because it'll shred you. Like, running into it in a tier 7 is going to be bad enough. And I think there are going to be tier 8s that are going to have to duck and cover when E-25s show up, because that DPM is going to be heinous. Now, because the penetration is bad, I think this is one of the few tanks in the game where you'd actually be have a little bit of an excuse to carry some premium ammo. And that only ups your penetration to 194, which is actually pretty good considering the kind of gun you're using. That gives you the penetration of a T29, gives you the penetration of a T32. That's almost the same penetration as my as my T54. And T54's got a lot of DPM, but not as much as this. So yeah, I mean, this thing is ridiculous. I'm definitely gonna hop into some battles with this sucker and go kill stuff with it, because I think it's gonna be off the chain. Lastly, I'm gonna go out on a limb and predict premium matchmaking for this, because frankly, even with the heinous DPM of this gun, it just doesn't have it for tier 9 battles. You just don't have the penetration. Even with APCR, you'd be pretty well screwed against tier 9s. So, I'm saying it here right now, this thing's gonna have premium matchmaker. You're gonna fight tier 5, 6, 7s, and 8s with this thing. No tier 9 battles, unless you platoon with somebody who can get tier 9s. So, if you platoon up with a tier 6, that'll be good. If you platoon up with another E-25 or a Panther M10 or an SU-122-44, those are some tier 7s with premium matchmaker. So that shouldn't ruin your day when you drive the E-25. So we've been in the garage a ridiculously long time. Well, let's go blow stuff up. Alright, loading into battle again in the E-25. Looks like a pretty good match. I'm surprised at how many people are playing low tiers on the test server. I thought the matchmaker would have more problem getting this thing into matches, but it seems to be doing alright. You can see we're in a tier 7 match. It's about half tier 7, half tier 6. Excuse me. I'd have to say our team is a little stronger. We have a couple of extra tier 7s, and they got a bunch of tier 5s. And to make up for that, they have a Hellcat, a KB2, and a tier 6 light. See a lot of people testing out E-25s for good reason, test server. I'm doing the commentary on these videos live, just like I did with the 110 and the IS-3, because last time I did test server videos on the 8.6 test server, it took me so long to go back and look at the replays that I wonder if I can do that. Oh! Whoa! I'm so lucky I didn't just totally smoke my tank right there. That was awesome. Bonuses of live commentary. You get to see random crap like that. That was sweet. When I flew up into the air that high, I was like, bollocks, my tank is screwed. Right. Okay, so we're gonna come, I wonder if I should try that again. I'm not gonna risk it. We're gonna come over here onto the flank. This thing's super quick. So I'm gonna deploy all the way over here. And we're gonna look for okay, somebody's in the cap circle. Okay, whatever was in the cap circle is gone. So I'm gonna peek around this building real quick and see what I can see. Not a whole lot. Not spotting anything over here. Right, well, let's get a little more ballsy. Look around the corner a little. Nothing. My team's getting smoked. Oh crap, well, there they are. Oh, it's an ELC. Not good. Take me like 4 shots to kill him. He's like one of the only tanks in the game that's as small as I am. This guy has to be able to see me. I mean, I wish I could see him. That would be pretty cool. I don't really want to close in with an ELC, but we're basically both practically the same tank, except he hits me, twice as hard as I hit him. Alright, ELC, where are you? Come on. Want to kill you. Chase the light tank with the tank destroyer. Alright, let's get him. I missed. That was a horrible shot. Okay, well, let's push the flank since we're over here, and They have a ton of dudes in the field, which is kind of weird. I'm going to try and get up on this hill here and push into the flank of their AT-15A and their AT-2. Okay, the AT-15 is moving out of the field, so I should have good side shots on the AT-2. Let's put the damage per minute of this machine gun to use. Crap, the AT-2 is turning. I don't think I'll be able to pin it frontal anymore. I'm really surprised that went through. Alright, I can't even see him. I'm not going to waste shots at a heavily armored tank destroyer that I can't even see. So instead I'm going to go for, well, I can see him again. Let's poke the KV-2. Let's see how quickly we can machine gun a KV-2. And we lit him on fire. And I am going to just sit here and tank his shot. Prime shell coming up next. Switching back to standard AP. Well, that was interesting. That would have been really, really dumb. Even stupider than it was. Except the AT-2 has, like, really, really low alpha damage. And his rate of fire is really only about the same as mine. So I'm not really that afraid of going shot for shot with him. Okay, SU-152 needs to go down.
Enemy armor is damaged. Critical hit.
Okay, I can't shoot the 152 anymore. Try to get shots at the T-21. Holy crap, where did that guy come from?
Ricochet.
That was unlucky.
They're knocked out.
Putting the rate of fire of this gun to good use to get a second shot in against the SU-100M1 before he could reload. Those SU-100M1s, their gun, or their armor is really troll. Oh crap, this guy's gonna kill me.
Enemy is hit.
So dead right here. All kinds of dead.
This vehicle is hacked.
Well, that was a good game. T-21 player did really good. T-21 player did really good. I did not expect the carry from the T-21. Honestly, expected he was going to be basically worthless. So you can see I did the second highest damage on my team, which basically tells me that my team sucked a lot of balls. Because, I only did 1,500 damage. That's really not a lot. 22 shots fired, 19 hits, 12 penetrations. I had a lot of non-penetrating critical hits. And I bounced a couple off the AT-2. So I bounced one off of this guy, one non-penning crit on him, one non-penning crit on him. Did a lot. Holy crap, look at the critical damage. Yellow engine, yellow ammo rack, yellow fuel, yellow radio, yellow track, red fuel tank. Yellow track. Killed his driver, yellow track, yellow ammo rack. Yeah, so that was a pretty decent... That was actually a good demonstration of this thing's mobility and its rate of fire and the usefulness of that rate of fire. So let's jump right into another one. Alright, so, not the most comprehensive review or anything like that, but my general impression of this thing is actually pretty favorable. I don't know if I would want to buy it on the live server. It's going to be pretty expensive, but I think it will be a fun little TD to play. And I think it'll be pretty good. It's so fast, and when you get into a situation where you can just pump out shot after shot with this gun, you're going to be able to hurt people bad. So, I'm thinking... I'm sitting on the fence here. I'm thinking maybe I'll get it, maybe not. I don't really know. Flip a coin. If it lands on heads, I'll probably end up buying the thing. So yeah, my impression of the E-25 is actually pretty favorable. I hope you found this helpful at all. I definitely found it helpful. It was fun. And if you get this thing and it turns out to be sick, let me know. So that was Captain Georgia, and just remember, guys, you can never have enough big guns.